Hello and welcome to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network, presented by Coors Light. Go from full-time to game time. Coors Light, made to chill. Make sure you find the Raptors Show wherever you listen to podcasts and subscribe, and please rate and review the show. I'm your host, Wim Lou. Co-host Blake Murphy is away for the weekend, and so I am joined by co-host Alex Wong. We're throwing it back, and we have a lot of listener questions to get to. We have some 905 updates. You know, I know Blake wasn't here, so I was stepping up. I watched the Raptors play, or 905 play, and get their first win of the season. Exciting one.
Oh, congrats. Did they give Eric Corey a Gatorade shower, you think,
I don't,
after the game?
Don't quite think so, but I'm feeling for my guy Eric. You know, needs to get a couple guys healthy and get a couple wins under his belt because it's been a tough start to the year. Grady played a lot better. And then we'll look ahead to Raptors Knicks. But Alex, you're basically driving the ship for today. So
you know what it's like when I drive. We drive real slow, and with no music, my brother. So thanks, shout out to everybody obviously for sending in your listener questions. As always, we're gonna try to get to all of them. So I've sorted them in categories for you, Will, and you can pick, and we can go through them. So the categories today are Pascal and O.G., the front office.
Okay, that's not going to be fun.
The second unit.
Yeah, okay.
Fun Raptors questions.
All right.
Shohei Ohtani.
Oh, he gets his own category.
And then we have a little assorted trick-or-treat bag that we're going to tap into every few basketball questions.
All right.
So where would you like to start?
Let's start with the most important things. Let's start with Pascal and O.G.
Okay, Pascal and O.G. questions. The first one for you is, if you could only choose one of O.G. or Pascal to continue with Scotty, who are you picking and why?
3 words for you, O.G. Anunoby.
Hello, Derek.
I think you probably would pick O.G. if you had to only go with one. I think my argument there is you're probably going to have to pair Scotty with a lead scorer at certain points. Like, I don't know if Scotty Barnes in his like fully actualized superstar version in his prime 5 years from now, let's say, is going to be that like go-to scorer in addition to all the other things that he does. Maybe he'll get there, and if he does, then this problem actually just kind of takes care of itself. But I do think that in the interim, maybe you do find him a lead scorer in that way. And I think Pascal's currently in that role, right, where he is the guy that the Raptors go to for their baskets. But you also see that there are times where they have to negotiate the spaces on the floor, all that kind of stuff. I think it works, but, you know, I think you could also make it work even better if that other player was more of a perimeter player, is more of a guard. The case for OG is that, like, he's not going to be that star player beside Scotty and Pascal or whoever is going to be here, right? OG is going to be really, really great in his role. 3-and-D, one of the best in the league, maybe 3-and-D plus, but I don't see that offensive leap coming. However, having said that, there is always going to be a place for an OG Anunoby on any winning team. Like, I think, honestly, any championship team or any contender in the league right now would love to have OG and put him into their squad. He'd immediately jump in and be excellent. And so looking ahead, why not just keep him on the Raptors for the hope that the Raptors ultimately get back to that point? How they get back there, who knows? We will see with the front office questions, but that's my pick. I'd probably go with OG. I'm sorry, Pascal, but who would you pick?
Yeah, this is a really tough one for me because the way that you've broken it down, like, to me, like, I would lean OG in that I think he's a great complementary player next to what you want to build around Scotty. But then I always find myself in a situation where, like, are we just, like, undervaluing Pascal in a way? Like, this is
totally.
This is this is an all NBA player, right?
Yeah.
And like, I know his role, he's adjusted to a new role, a new offense this season, but at the same time, there's always room for Pascal. But my problem with Pascal is, like, I just don't feel like from a timeline basis, it fits where the Raptors are trying to go. And maybe part of that is the front office.
Okay.
Part of that I would blame on the front office too, because they've gotten themselves in a situation where it does feel like they need to choose now. Because, like, is there a scenario, an alternate scenario, where all three of them are on the team next season? Like, how realistic do you think that is? That it's Scotty, OG, and Pascal are all on the Raptors opening night next season?
I think if the Raptors were mostly looking to retain their assets, that probably makes the most sense to me. But I've also said this last year when the Raptors had a whole bunch of guys.
Yeah, we've had all these conversations for 2 years, by the way.
Yeah, well, it turns out, you do the Daily Show every day. You're probably going to have to retread over the same topic. But I understand that, like, it's a pretty important one, or this is how people are thinking about it. I mean, yeah, the Raptors can just spend the money to do it. It's just whether or not they have the appetite to, spend into the luxury tax or even potentially hit against the second apron.
I think the bigger question.
I think the answer is no, because the Raptors in their history have spent into the luxury tax once, and it was for the championship.
Yeah, you calling them cheap? But I think the bigger question is, are you willing to push those chips in and really build around these three guys? Like, have you seen enough from these three guys over the past, like, say, 3 years for you to believe that you're going to commit max money to OG, probably near max for Pascal?
I don't know if we'll get max money. Is it going to be max for OG?
You don't think so? Given the market that'll be out there for him too, and I know we saw a lot of reporting. We're going to have Michael Scotto join us next week to chat about kind of the chatter. I know there's been there's been reports that the Raptors are concerned that, like, other teams might be able to throw a shorter term deal with, like, more money annually at him. Yeah, I think it's going to take near the max to get OG, to retain OG. I don't think you're getting OG at a discount.
It's funny because I don't think any team signing OG at a max would be asking him to be a max player, which is to come in and be your number one, maybe your number two guy, all-star level kind of player. Any team that signs, it'll just be like the market's kind of dictating that that's sort of what his, like, skill set is valued at. But I think most teams bring him in would want him to be a third guy, maybe a third guy, maybe a fourth guy even, depending on how talented that team is, right? So, yeah, I mean, you can do it. I think you'd have to, make some concessions elsewhere. You might have to get rid of a couple pieces.
You might have to get rid of concessions.
Like,
you might got to increase concessions.
Like, Gary's probably not going to be around if you want to do a move like this. I think, yeah, it is just difficult, right? Which is why I think there's always this sort of sense of, and I get it. Like, I think it's annoying to me personally, just because we cover all the games, and so it comes up all the time. But, yeah, I mean, this long term, like, you have to think about it long term. And I think long term, it probably makes more sense to move forward with two of those guys rather than all three. Having said that, though, like, this is their time right now. If they go on a great run, if they can really show that it works and they get into a great groove and, they're winning. I mean, again, they're 9-10 right now. There's no way that you look at this and say, well, they're going to win 50+ games on the season or anything like that. But if that scenario does happen, if they really click, then I think that they kind of play themselves into being together, right? But right now, if they continue at a 500 pace, I can't see them doing that.
Yeah, but that's a big problem to your last point, too, is that they've, outside of that nice stretch towards the end of the regular season into the playoffs 2 seasons ago, 2021, 22, it's been a 500 team for 3 years.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
and that's what happens with, like, 500 teams. You'll have some nice stretches. You'll have some, like, pretty bad ones.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, over the bulk of the last 3 years, it's been kind of a 500 team. Now, during that stretch, I think OG was actually injured for a lot of that as well. Scotty was coming up in a rookie season, and last year was, kind of stayed at a similar level, and then this year he's taken a big step. So you have to allow some time to, like, see how these things adapt to each other.
Yeah.
I think what's been encouraging is, well, first off, OG's so flexible. I'm pretty sure he could play any role, and I think that no one's really been concerned about how OG fits in any of this. Well, obviously, some concern about how Pascal fit at the start of the season when he started slow. But as I keep pointing out, after those 2 games against Philadelphia, where he had, I think, 10, and then the win over San Antonio in overtime, where he only had 8 points. In the 12 games since, he's back to, like, the level that he's been at the last couple of years. I mean, in the 12 games since those 2 games, he's at 22.6 points per game, shooting 51% from the field. The 3-point percentage is hilarious when you look at it. He's shooting 9.8% from 3 in that stretch.
Man.
But it obviously has led to him getting to the foul line a lot. He's playing around the paint. He's rebounding a good rate.
I don't care what it's been led to, man. He's shooting 9% from 3.
The 9% from 3 is a real problem. I totally agree with you. I'm not trying to skate past that. But, like, he actually has gone back to his all-star level minus a 3-point shooting.
Yes.
So it's not, to me, a question of him fitting within this group. I think that, like, all 3 guys can be successful. It's just a matter of whether or not you want to pay for all of it.
Well, that's why it's not going to be easy for the front office. And this is the other question that came up in the Pascal and OG category. Somebody asked if Pascal, by all reports, has been willing to, sign an extension, and it seems like OG might be more headed to free agency. Why has there been so much focus on Pascal being moved? I guess to reframe the question, it's more like, should we be having conversation too about, you know, if this doesn't go well up until the trade deadline, are you looking at a scenario where OG might be available?
My sense of this is like the front office is looking at it like the ball is in their court. Like the front office's court.
The ball's been rolled in their court for years, my brother.
They've been doing that Dennis Schroeder thing where they just roll the ball out and kind of eat the clock on their contracts. But like, I think the front office feels that they can re-sign both of these guys if they choose to.
Okay.
It's not a question of, okay, obviously OG, you can't necessarily, I think the window's already passed, but couldn't assign him to an extension because of the fact that he'd have to opt out. And then the maximum for that extension was less than the actual maximum elsewhere. It's so complicated. This, again, I miss you, Blake. You would have been here to explain that, and it would have been awesome. But essentially, the most Raptors can pay him is less than what the most he can get in free agency is.
Right. It just didn't make sense for a deal wasn't going to get done before the start of the season.
Exactly.
Is what you're saying. Yeah.
Pascal's case is different. If they extend him right now, it's going to be the same as the number that he will sign in the offseason, whether that's for the Raptors or elsewhere. So, yeah, I think the front office kind of feels that like they have both options in their hand if they choose to go with both.
All right, good luck, front office. Yeah, just listen, we've gone through this before.
I'm just here to wear this very spiffy Sportsnet 590 The Fan hockey jersey on air. All right, I'm not here to defend the front office. I'm just here to just explain to you, how they may potentially feel about this.
Before we get to the front office, one more in this category. Dennis mentioned this a little bit.
Sure.
Yesterday too. When is it time to make a push for Defensive Player of the Year for OG? You think he's stacking up a case so far?
I like that Dennis kind of started stacking that case up. I like that Dennis, as a vet in this league, somebody who's been around really successful players. Like, honestly, we only have 15 minutes each week, and half of it we always talk about like what's topical for that week.
And Blu-ray,
and then Blu-ray,
now available on Blu-ray.
That's how the mainlander says Blu-ray, as you pointed out. But he's played with successful players, right? He was in Boston. He played with Tatum and Brown. He was obviously just coming off the Lakers. He played with LeBron and AD.
Yeah.
He played with Chris Paul.
You calling AD special? I
Shea, those kind of guys.
Yeah.
In OKC. Even before that in Atlanta, there was a team with 4 All-Stars. He was on that team, I believe.
He might have crossed paths a little bit.
Well,
he was definitely crossed paths with our guy, Jeff Teague. Yeah.
That too. So, like, he's seen sort of like what it takes for players to sort of get that accolade and get that kind of recognition. And he knows that, like, number one, more importantly than anything else, you got to win. Once you are the winning team and you have the stats to back up your contributions towards the winning team, that's how you get these awards. I think even like the most recent like major award we've had in Toronto was Scottie winning Rookie of the Year. One of the big deciding factors for voters that year was the Raptors won more games than Cleveland.
Yeah, and us pushing everybody on the Raptor show, pushing all the voters.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, like down the stretch, like they were really able to come on strong, right? So I think that, like, I mean,
I almost think
our propaganda thing too. I mean, I don't know. We could do some OG propaganda if we need to.
Oh,
I think it's pretty obvious. Like Devin Booker shot like 2 of 12 against them. That's tough.
The numbers are staggering. You see what he's done to Donovan Mitchell. Even the way he guarded Victor Wembanyama in that Spurs game stood out to me. I almost think OG is so good on the defensive end that the Raptors, even if they're just a near 500 team, he's going to deserve some consideration for Defensive Player of the Year because I think he's that good right now.
Sure. I also do think that like the market does cut against OG.
Sure.
In a way.
Yeah.
Like you just take your average voter, who has covered the NBA for like 10, 15 years and they cover the local beat. That's the average voter that contributes towards these things. So cover the local beat means that half the nights in the league, they're at an arena, whether that's home or away, and they're watching that game.
Yeah.
When you're at the arena, it takes you're there from, let's say tonight's game is 7:30 against the Knicks. You're there from like 4:30 until like probably 11.
Yeah. Is that why you're skipping tonight? Or?
Don't worry about my moves, buddy. It's all good. You'll be there to hold it down. I know. So you're there from 4:30 to 11. If you're writing off the game, probably even 11:30. Right. That's not an uncommon sort of strategy. At that point, you got to then move and schedule on top of your life. So you're talking about like literally half the games in the year, you're not able to watch other games. So at best, you're saying that on all your off nights, you are now watching all the teams in the league to really understand everything. What that leaves you typically is most people end up watching the nationally televised game of the week. So some TNT Thursday game, maybe an ESPN Sunday kind of game. And they're using that in addition to sort of who they see over the course of their team season to vote for those awards. If the Raptors are never on national television, how are they supposed to really get that information? And yeah, sure, it could be highlighted somewhere. Obviously, really, really top of the league kind of like journalists like a Zach Lowe, they might point out, okay, this is great. You might hear a little podcast snip of like a JJ Redick podcast being like, hey, you know who's a great defender? O.G. Anunoby. Here's this and this. Those things may sway you a little bit. You might read some articles. I'm sure, again, there's more research that goes into this. But in terms of just like your day-to-day, like actual time and ability to consume things as a national like beat writer that then needs to vote for these awards, like you're probably looking at the national TV games.
Yeah.
And we're never on them.
No, I think that's a really fair point.
If Raptors Suns was a national TV game and everyone saw OG guard Booker like that, it'd be a huge thing. But it wasn't.
That's why we need more like defensive highlight packs, man.
I would advocate for that.
Yeah, we actually need more of that because I think defensive player of the year with what OG does is hard to kind of spotlight sometimes, like you mentioned, because of all those factors. Let's stick with basketball, man. Let's move on to the front office.
It's the most you and I have talked hoops.
Yeah, we're also sitting really. It feels so empty in here, man. Is there a world where Masai and Bobby either buy or stay put at the trade deadline? So let's start with the buying part. Is there a world where Masai and Bobby would be adding players to this current roster at the trade deadline?
I mean, I think all the options should be on the table.
Great, here we go again.
No, all the options should be on the table. You don't just walk in there and just say, like, I'm only going to do one thing, right?
Sure.
You have to at least carry the idea that, like, I could do any of this. I think what's more interesting to me is, like, what scenario does the team have to be in for them to actually buy? Like, do they need to be in a top 6 position in the standings?
Even then, could you realistically talk yourself into buying?
I mean, it would probably depend on what deal is available on the table. Like, if it was like if you get to that point and, I would say like the Celtics, what they did a couple years ago when Derek White became available, and it was like a first-round pick and maybe like a pick swap or something like that, but nothing like super expensive and nothing really off the roster that they needed. And you looked at a player like Derek White who's under contract and who can contribute, like, you kind of make a deal that's sort of sensible to be made at that time. I think the circumstances going the other way is like if the Raptors are really, really bad and they're like 8-9 games under 500 by the time the trade deadline comes around, then you probably will sell and you probably won't see any opportunities to buy. But it's too hard to say that, I guess, in advance,
And do you see a scenario, the second part, where they just stay put? Keep the roster, OG, Gary, and Pascal all go to free agency.
I would say probably not, but I mean, at the same time, we've also seen them do that this past summer with friends. So, anything goes with the front office. I don't think it would be wise, really.
Are you listening, Bobby? Are you picking up your kids right now?
Yo, stop threatening his kids, man.
I'm not threatening.
Is Sue Young in the car singing?
Oh, no. Next up in the front office. Last year around the trade deadline, there was reports that the front office wanted to keep this team together, add vets, and see if they could help make a run. But also looks like the players didn't like each other, and the players didn't think that it worked last year. Any sense that this has changed, considering the roster is mostly the same? I guess this question is just more, there's been a lot of talk coming into this year about adding Darko, as the new head coach. We got a post-game chain now, new offense, all this stuff. But from the outside looking in, there is a segment of the fan base that looks at the roster and is like, it's pretty much the same. And the results have pretty much been the same.
Yeah.
So do you feel like there has been changes this year so far, like about 20 games in, where you feel like the Raptors are, trending differently than, say, last year?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really easy to make the case that, like, this is the exact same as last year because they're 9-10 right now. Last year they finished 41-41, and the players are pretty much the same outside of swapping Dennis for Fred or Fred for Dennis. I think what that glosses over, though, is just like they are playing entirely differently on defense, and they're also playing very differently on offense. Now, it's funny that you're still getting to the same spot. Like, it doesn't really matter if you take, the 401 to the DVP and get downtown, or if you take the, 427 and the Gardner and get downtown, you're probably still getting to the same place. And it's probably still going to take you 2 hours. But, like, they are trying something different. And I think the idea was if you get them to play differently, A, does that bring more out of this group? And B, which players fit that new kind of identity? And I think that that's sort of an evaluation process that is its own thing. Like, I think that people get frustrated about thinking about evaluation because it's like, we've seen 3-4 years of evaluation. How do you not decide on these guys already? But if you're going to tell me you're going to change their offense and your defense, don't you want to see how the players that you have currently fit within that and then respond accordingly to that? Like, it does feel like they're not making any moves, but like also no team around the league at this current moment in the calendar year for the NBA is making moves at this time. You'll definitely see activity, in January. You'll definitely see activity in February at the trade deadline. But currently, they're trying to play in a different way. It's just funny that they're in the same spot.
No, it is. I think, the biggest change for me for this year is that I think now you can comfortably say that, hey, we can with certainty think about what it's like to build a team around Scottie, or at least give a chance of like, because we couldn't have those conversations last year. Okay. Last year it was still like, hey, Pascal's the best player on this team. We have all these other players. We don't know what Scottie's going to be. I think at least Scottie's showing enough this season for the front office to say that, hey, we can move forward with this path. Like, it doesn't doesn't clear up the questions about Pascal and O.G. because their contract situations are what they are. And like, not to jump ahead too, but it's like a lot of questions about like the second unit and like which bench players can fit with Scottie and stuff. Like, at least now when you're thinking about constructing the roster moving forward, I think you can fully think about it from like the standpoint of like, what are we building around Scottie? Which I don't think you could last year.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. But I also think that Scottie's shown you so much this year, and obviously he's got to continue throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah.
But I don't really see why I wouldn't. But once he shows you this, then you have a much bigger ability to say, okay, this is, the piece that we have to center around. Before that, is sort of like, we hope that this is the piece that we center around. Now we kind of know that definitively. And again, in that sense, I'm actually really encouraged because my biggest thing coming into the season was, will Scottie make that jump?
Right.
And he has, which is great.
Yeah, but now they got to put a better roster around him.
Yeah,
And it's like it's his third year, man. Like, the clock is ticking always.
Oh, someone on Twitter asked, where did I get this hoodie? Would you love to know?
Yeah, Will's wearing a Sportsnet 590 The Fan hockey jersey.
That's right. Number 7 on the back.
I'm stealing that one for Christmas and not returning it, by the way.
All right.
Last front office question.
Okay, Asshole Tam.
Is there a chance? Yeah, I feel like I'm in court right now. Shouts a Young Thug's lawyer pushing positivity. Is there a chance this constant limbo leads to a front office change? I remember reading quotes about them talking about why be in the middle, and Masai talking about playing for what. Now it seems like we're living in the middle, and what are we playing for, basically?
Yeah, I think that's like objectively very fair, and especially when you look at the course of the last 3 years, they've basically been a 500 team. I think the last 3 years combined, they're 7 games over 500.
Yeah,
including this year,
and that's because of like the last 3 weeks of that regular season. 2 weeks ago,
partially, yeah,
they were just hovering around 500 that whole
and then
season.
They made the
pretty
push.
much.
You're right. You're right. They were winning games with Armani Brooks. Precious was super hot for a while. They were playing that wild 7-man rotation with Chris and Precious just coming in only to grab rebounds. Nick had some ideas.
They went like this when they checked in.
No, they literally did a fusion dance, and they were like, "All right, we're gonna be the same guy." But I think so. Obviously, like, you have to take everything the front office says with a grain of salt.
Sure.
But I think the general idea is the future of the franchise moving in a good way, and I think that as long as you have Scottie, that is like half the battle. Like, you have a young star player who you haven't even signed yet to a rookie extension, which obviously you will be able to. So you have like 3-4 years there minimum, right? Now, of course, you need to surround and need to build some pieces, but the Raptors have pieces, right? I think that, if you want to convert them to future pieces, then yeah, you just trade an OG, you trade a Pascal, maybe trade a Gary, and you take some young players and you say, well, we have these guys under team control, we can kind of move forward, we're good. I think that option is on the table for the front office, and if they take that option, I think for a lot of people that would make them feel better about the situation. They probably feel better about the front office if they make the decision. I think what's difficult is you have to judge them, not necessarily what they say in the press conference, but what they've done with their acquisitions. And obviously the life history of both Masai and Bobby has been excellent. Like, can't be ungrateful about this whatsoever, man. Like, they've made incredible trades, including winning a championship, and it felt for a while that everything they touched went to gold. But then you look at the last couple of years, like, okay, well, Goran Dragic and a first-round pick for Thad Young, like
that's looking tough in retrospect.
That's not really a home run, like we're gonna trade Kem Birch in a first for Jakob Poeltl. Like objectively, you got a much better player. Like Kem's not even in the league anymore. I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
So no longer representing We the North.
But that one's still yes, Drizzy, come on the show, man. But that Jakob one is still up for debate for me.
Yeah. Okay.
See how it plays out.
I mean, they wouldn't have I don't think they had another way to acquire like a starting caliber ready-made center.
Sure.
To add to the group because they didn't have really money in free agency to really go around with. The money that they had was the mid-level, which they signed Dennis with, which I think is like an objectively a pretty great deal. If you got a starting level player at the mid-level, like you've done really well.
I just feel like you're a 500 team for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
You don't have excess draft picks the way like a Utah or OKC does.
You actually are in pick deficit right now.
Yeah. You're in pick deficit. So like in every way, you're in the middle, right? It's not like you have this clear path to like replenish your talent. Some of your top talent, like 2 of your starters and your 6th man is heading to free agency, right? You lost your starting point guard in the summer to nothing. Like, if you look at the body of work, like I get the run up to the championship was like incredible. Like I still think back of like how we were able to get OG and Norm for like who? Like Gravis Vasquez.
Yep.
Like which was incredible.
Yep.
But like the body of work the last 3-4 years has been really lacking.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you, man.
And I'm not saying like advocating for a front office change, Bobby, if you're driving to see your kids right now, but like
sorry, Bob.
My thing is like, I think 2-3 years ago, coming off the championship, if there was any chatter about Masai leaving or a change in the front office, the fan base would have just thrown their hands up and been like really upset.
No, there would have been a protest at 50 Bay Street.
Yeah, the tone has changed now.
Yeah.
I think now there's part of the fan base who's like, oh, has this front office kind of grown, not like stale, but like too attached to some of their players? Or too confident in like the paths that they're choosing, like you mentioned, of like, oh, they're confident that if Pascal and O.G. go to free agency, they'll take care of it. And it's like we've seen things go the other way for them. So I think my answer to this question is like, I wouldn't be surprised. You know what? I would be surprised with this change, but it's just like, it says a lot that the fan base's tone on the front office is no longer as universally supportive as it was like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, but they're no longer universally hitting like grand slams every time they make a move.
Bobby and Masai released Shohei Ohtani for like 6 years.
So I used this analogy yesterday. I was on a Knicks podcast. Shouts to Knicks Fan TV.
Yeah, playing too many away games, but go ahead.
And I made the analogy because they were asking about Masai as well. I made the analogy that like Masai is kind of in the Blueprint 3 era.
No, man. You made a Jay-Z analogy on a New York pod?
That's right.
I'm disgusted right now, man.
Yeah, no, seriously. The first like what, 5, 6, 7 years of Masai's tenure in Toronto were Blueprint 1 and 2. Like just nothing but bangers.
Okay.
Don't make me list them because I'm not that familiar
name your
with this
top
game.
3 Blueprint 2 tracks, man.
But when it comes to right now, it's more Blueprint 3 era. Roses. There's like a couple of like
you can't be young forever, man.
Yeah, the Young Forever is good.
You can't
like
be young forever.
Thad Young Forever. That's his current era.
Once again, stick to Kendrick, my brother.
Yeah. So it happens though. When you have really high expectations, and look, like I think the expectation of the fan base changed too, because for like longer term NBA fan or Raptor fans, whether our expectations like have grown or changed, I'm not saying that people aren't capable of change. In the back of mind, you always have that experience of like, oh yeah, what the Pistons are doing right now, that used to be the Raptors.
Yeah.
Oh, losing 6 straight to start the season or 16 straight to start the season. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been there. We've done that. Like we've seen like, okay, we got to give all the shots to like a guy who's like Leandro Barbosa was like one of our top 2 options.
Yeah. A Brazilian blur
10 years ago, like, so even if our expectations have changed, even though we know like objectively, that we want to move in a different direction, or we might disagree with the direction the front office is taking. At least in the back of your mind, like, okay, this is where we came from. And if we've gone through that, we can go through it, something better. And we understand like the value the front office has. I think more than anything else, people may not necessarily want to change the front office. They just want the front office to like choose a decision, pick a direction. If they tear down, everyone understands it. And then we would want them to be around to help us with the tear down and rebuild, because they've been really great with draft picks too. So I think the bigger thing is you have to manage the expectation, because if you're just standing in the middle and you're telling people we're going to win, but you're going to be, dropping games to the Nets and then you win again against the Suns, people are going to get pretty frustrated because it's like we're not really moving anywhere, even though we're expecting wins, but we're not really seeing that. So I guess people just need to know what to expect more than anything else.
Yeah. Wow. Great ball talk with you, my brother.
Yeah. I didn't think we talked this much ball.
No, you were rolling. So
I have one Asian food question.
No, I didn't want to suddenly be like, yo, settle this transatlanticism or plans, which we will get to after the break.
Can't wait. Okay, we're going to take that break. I've been your host, Willow. You've been listening to The Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Welcome back to The Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. I'm your host, Lou. Continue joined by producer and co-host Alex Wong. We are answering listener questions, among other things, on today's episode. But first, we have a really exciting ticket giveaway. Alex?
Yeah, so next Wednesday, December 6th, the Raptors are facing off against the Miami Heat, two teams who didn't make it into the in-season tournament quarterfinals at 7:30 p.m. at Scotiabank Arena. Here's your chance for you to win tickets to check out the action. So to enter for a chance to win 2 tickets to check out the action, text today's code word Siakam to 590. Again, today's code word is Siakam. Text this in to 590 right now to enter for your chance to win tickets to next Wednesday's game. We will also be giving away another pair of tickets on Monday. So if you don't win today, make sure you tune into the show next Monday. You can also secure your tickets for next week's Toronto-Miami game at ticketmaster.ca.
That's good.
Did I stutter? No?
Did I pronounce his name right?
Yeah. So let's get to some more fun questions.
Also, who wrote check out the action so many times into the copy?
It was our acting boss, Dylan Brown, if you really wanted to know.
Do you need a thesaurus?
do you need to study English again? Silvio Dante.
My goodness, man.
All right, let's get to some fun questions because somehow we got engaged into 30 minutes of ball talk.
I wasn't expecting that for the two of us.
I was like, man, seen a lot of synergy this year from the Raptors.
That's right.
Man, it's a regular season win, but it is what it is. Yeah. All right, let's do this. If you guys, this is from longtime listener Dana.
All right.
If me and you fought UFC style, who would win?
What is UFC style? Like, there's just no rules.
So we get in the octagon. Yeah, we can have like different, jiu-jitsu. Did I pronounce that genre right? Did I pronounce that fighting style right? Yeah, a little British jiu-jitsu, BJJ as they call it.
First off, shouts to BJJ on board.
Oh, yeah. You know who goes there when he's in town?
Who?
Ronnie Chang.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No way.
No, he's a big BJJ guy.
Got you. Yeah.
He's
on
BJJ Armstrong.
Oh, man.
All right, the show has started. Who would win? Let's hear it, my brother. First of all, what would we fight over, man?
There's nothing we would actually fight over, bro. We're actually pretty aligned on like 99% of things, except for one thing that we'll never talk about on air.
Oh, brother.
But yeah, I
Trip
mean,
coming.
I have like more size. I don't know if that's like advantageous. When's the last time you got in a fight?
Like an actual fight? I don't think I've gone into an actual physical fight in my
I'm winning
life.
this fight then. If you never fought in your life, then I don't know. I think.
But you don't think my survival instincts will kick in? Yeah.
You got a mean jump hook.
I'll just slap my hands like all around. Which NBA player would I fight like? I'd be like Beef Stew, man, Isaiah Stewart or something.
I know. I'm sure you got that dog.
I think you can take me though. But are you putting me in a sleeper hold? Like, what do you think the move is? You gonna sweep my leg? Like, what do you like? You coming to the center of the ring?
No, like boxing or anything like that.
Yeah, you could just knock me out with one punch if you want. This guy's one punch man.
I haven't fought anybody since I was in middle school. I think middle school it was a fight every day.
I think you could take
Hilltop.
I think you could take me though.
If you've never been in a fight before, you're losing this fight. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm picking you as well.
Okay. But we'll never actually fight though.
You never know, man.
No, we're not fighting, man.
Does Will have a personal mandate to wear one piece of camo every day on the show?
I have one camo item.
I think you just wear it a lot. Give me your full rotation of clothes right now. I can name it: Columbia, camo, purple fleece acquired from the Sportsnet wardrobe department.
Yeah.
Vintage World Cup '98 Japan.
Yeah, it's upstairs.
Jacket.
In the office.
Your dad's trench coat. Or is it your own? Yeah. Trench coat.
It's 50-50 at this point.
Yeah. And the OVO hoodie that you were gifted from me via OVO, which you're wearing today.
I am actually wearing that right now. Except I got I'm repping SN 590.
Yeah. And those Adidas forms.
Goodness. Yeah, those forms have seen some better days. I've also got these for free too. So.
Yeah. Anyways.
I'm just trying not to spend that much money on clothing.
You like the camo though or what, man? You've been rolling with the camo a little bit.
The camo's nice. You don't think so? Like what Gary said, it was a good fit. I think it was stamped. You know?
Yeah, but Gary was lying to you that whole segment. As teased before the break, you know, Death Cab for Cutie did make my Spotify Rap top 5, and I know you're a Death Cab connoisseur as well. So someone wrote in and said, "All right, boys, time to settle it. Transatlanticism versus Plans."
Okay.
This is a heavyweight matchup. I've got both track lists pulled up here.
Got you.
Transatlanticism.
Give me the top 3 versus top 3.
Okay, Transatlanticism, top 3. Obviously, title track. The title track, The Sound of Settling.
Oh, man.
And then it's tough between Title and Registration and The New Year. Those are 2 key tracks for me, too. What about your top 3 from Plans?
Plans is simple, man. I mean, I'll Follow You Into the Dark is like one of the 3 songs that stood out.
Oh, man. Heard that live this year.
Oof.
Banger, man.
That's a classic right there.
Man.
What else is on this album here? Brothers on a Hotel Bed.
Yeah, love that.
Another one for me.
Love that.
Honestly, this is one of those, you know, like Soul Meets Body is also like it could be top 3.
No Marching Bands of Manhattan.
Marching Bands of Manhattan could be top 3.
That's the hottest album intro since Jay-Z
Summer
Volume
Skin
1.
is also on this. I think Plans wins, man.
You think Plans wins?
It has the most iconic ones, I think.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Okay, I mean, my top 2 favorite are on here. So
okay, let's go with that. Next up, when will Alex get a new car?
Can you tell the listeners what you are currently whipping?
I'm currently whipping a 01 Honda Civic.
Like it's not a joke. Like it's actually from 2001.
Yeah, it just came back. Car just came back from the shop. You know,
do they still have parts for this car? Like when you sent it to the shop, like do they have?
I believe some parts have been discontinued.
I hope so.
Knock on wood. I'm hoping to give this car a couple more years. So yeah, I know you've always enjoyed the car rides with me. So
yeah, well, appreciate that. To set the scene in this 2001 Honda Civic that he's been driving. There is absolutely nothing in the car. It's a spotless car. Yeah. Except for 3 CD-ROMs, because this car does not does not have Bluetooth. Again, this car came out before Bluetooth. I think was invented or maybe popularized. Yeah. No aux cable. You didn't like trick it out or anything. You didn't put in anything. Yeah. So
you have to roll the windows.
It plays cassettes and CDs. And then, of course, it plays the radio, which we keep it locked to Fan 590. I'm not even kidding.
Of course, man. There's no other radio network in this city.
One time, we tried to listen to something else in the car, and I had to play it out loud in the cup holder from the phone speaker.
Also, the cup holders are also from 01. It doesn't fit iPhones 8 and up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you need to put your phone there.
Phones have gotten a lot bigger, but the car was
one time I drove my nephew in that, and then when he went home, went to my sister, he was like, "Is Uncle Alex broke?" Does he need money?
Do you need some money?
He's like, I had to roll the windows.
Oh, that's right. Yes, there are no motion. You can't like hit the button or whatever. You actually have to like physically wheel them.
It's crazy when I hop in my mom's car. Like she's got the new Civic, like a 2021.
Got you.
And it's got all the motion sensors. You can see like there's like the whole screen at the front.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
A rearview mirror, I'm sure.
Yo, it's crazy.
Parking assist.
Crazy. Anyways, in line with the Spotify Wrapped release.
Oh, your car's basically Vince Carter and the Hawks, man. I got one more in
Yo,
me.
I always got one more in me, hopefully. In line with the Spotify Wrapped release this week, this is from Carlo at U of T. Shouts to Carlo. What's your favorite concert that you've ever attended? Or this year, or recently. Doesn't have to be all time.
Favorite concert ever attended probably has to be... It was Kendrick at Oshiega. This is like probably 2015, maybe 2014.
That's how you know we've been doing this for a long time, because we've definitely answered this question before.
To Pimp a Butterfly came out, which is my favorite Kendrick album. Yeah. And yeah, it was just a really great time. You know, everyone really got into it, got very emotional during All Right.
Once again, Oshiega is the Pacific Mall Coachella.
It really is. I'm not even kidding. It really, really is.
Even people in Montreal can't hate on that. You know it's real, man.
Yeah, it's real when you go to Parc Jean Drapeau.
What? Yeah, my concerts this year, I guess I wrote these down. This year, I went to a GZA concert, Death Cab at Massey Hall with acting boss Dylan Brown and his wife Mary. The Lox, Ghostface, LL Cool J, Wu-Tang Nas De La Soul, and The Far Side. First of all, how many of these have you heard of?
Obviously, I know Ladies Love Cool James from our previous.
Ladies Love Cool James Herbert.
Goodness.
Got 11 herbs and spices for Azotam. Yeah, my favorite show this year, honestly, was the Death Cab. We talk about the Death Cab. Like that one really hit different.
Did you guys get the set list? You guys got the set list for that one?
I think Dylan tried to get the set list, and he might have gotten snaked by a Chinese lady, actually.
Wow.
So score one for us.
There we go. We won, baby.
Yeah, but yeah, Death Cab, just a real emotional experience there.
I heard that, yeah.
What about an artist that you haven't seen yet that you love to see in concert?
I haven't seen in concert?
I know you've seen FKJ. Yeah, what was that? Fruit kiwi juice or something? Fresh kiwi juice.
Shout out to FKJ, number one on my Spotify Wrapped once again.
My number one Wrapped was Tim Hortons, man. They should give me my Tim Hortons Wrapped.
Yo, actually, I kind of want every
Uber Eats Wrapped.
Every service should give you the Wrap for the year. You
know, Uber Wrap, like the top 5 locations.
They're like, your number one was McDonald's,
snakes and latte.
So Uber Eats with snakes and lattes.
No, man, that's where my. Anyways, I'll tell you off air.
Goodness.
Is there one artist you haven't seen in concert where you're like,
you know what? Because I've probably seen most of my favorite artists.
Yeah.
I think it would be pretty lit to see a Ludacris concert.
Oh yeah, okay,
yeah.
Okay.
And I think it's like very feasible. I think he probably is still touring to this day.
No, we did Ludacris Stand Up, the song Stand Up at karaoke last time. So
I feel like Ludacris will bring a lot of energy into this.
Yeah.
Obviously a really great lyricist as well.
I'm surprised by that.
Yeah, Ludacris, 50 Cent, in that kind of era.
50, yeah. I missed the 50 Get Rich or Die Trying reunion tour this year. I was disappointed by that. To be honest, I want to see Mos Def and Talib Kweli.
Oh, word?
A little Black Star reunion. What you know about that?
I do know about that.
Next up, coming off the fact that I won the MVP by banking in a free throw at the charity game, Shanda wants to know from you, what are the NOAA analytics on Alex's free throws?
Oh, brother.
Oh, brother.
Oh, man.
Can I actually go to OVO Athletic Center and get the NOAA on this?
I actually would love to do that.
That would be amazing.
I think we know enough people to try to set that up.
Okay, you're just going to pull up to Bobby?
Yeah, I might
be
just
like, hey,
ask
we tore up that front office segment 1. But
hey, Bobby, I know we fired you while you were picking up your kids in your car and listening to us on the radio, but can we shoot just for fun?
That's what happens when you curve me courtside for Chuck Swirsky. Anyways.
Oh, that happened. That's tough, bro. Okay, so as we've detailed many times, the NOAA board tracks 3 things. It tracks whether your shot is left or right of center of the rim. If it's
is it a number?
Short.
Is it like a percentage, or a color?
It is a number, right? So it's a spectrum from like 0 to 100, and you want to be in the 50 in the middle, right there.
50 is good. Is great.
50 is great. Yeah, I think it's like if you hit 3 50s, like if you hit all 3 on 50, like I don't think it's like mathematically or physically possible for the ball not to have gone in.
Yeah,
kind of thing. But so it tracks whether your shot's left or right, long or short, and then also how much arc you put on the shot. The only thing maybe subjective is how much arc you put on the shot, just based on. I mean, I don't really care as long as you're like both dead center and also like the correct length. I'm pretty sure your shot should go in. Whatever. You would literally get 0 on across the board. Like, I'm not kidding. Like the only thing that you did for the free throw that made it was you were actually online.
Yes.
But you shot it like so long that it banked off the backboard and it went in.
Yeah.
But I've seen the shot. It goes left and right. It's long and short, and the arc of it is wild. So, like, I don't know. Like, I actually would love to see it. It should be for science to see.
It really should. It really should.
You have other skills, though, basketball-wise.
Yeah,
like, I'm not trying to diss you at all.
I'm gonna spend.
You're a great defender.
I'm gonna spend next summer working on my shot because I really feel like
I'll teach you how to shoot, man. You know I can shoot.
No, I got Johnson already.
Okay, fine.
I think if I can even pick up a semblance of a shot, like it's gonna open up my game so much.
You're basically a Raptors player. You're a Raptor prospect. If you could shoot, you'd be damn good. Yeah, I know.
I'm Justice Winslow right now.
Basically.
If you could use only one quote from The Wire for the rest of your life, which one would it be? So I got some options for you here.
Some options here.
Obviously the Stringer Bell wants you to put the word out there that we're back up.
Nice.
You've told us that we can own more than just 4 corners. When
that's specific to the Raptors game ups.
When
we can own more than just 4 corners.
Yeah. Sometimes when we talk about food too much, because like there was one time I think Avon said to Stringer, like, you think we're the Trump bros now? You call us the Fung bros.
Nice.
There's also Marlo to the security guard. You think it's one way, but it's the other way.
So you said to that security guard.
Well, anyways. And then he was, I love this one's like Azotam related. It's like I got the shotgun, you got the briefcase.
Nice.
So it's like I got the synergy data, you got the briefcase type.
Nice.
How many? Yeah. Which one do you like?
I mean, it's hard to just pick one, right? Like
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for not being in the spirit of this question.
If I had to just only pick one, I'd probably do the, put the word back out there that we back up.
Okay.
By Stringer Bell. But
yeah. Is The Wire the most
quotable?
Is The Wire the most quotable show of all time?
It's pretty close.
Yeah.
It's pretty close. Yeah.
So
I don't understand how people understand every subplot and are able to quote so much of Seinfeld and The Simpsons.
Oh yeah.
And by people, I mean people who.
Did we need Blake here for this?
Yeah, basically Blake people.
Blake people is great.
No, Blake people they really know so much an encyclopedic knowledge, and I just never understood.
I don't think it's even a Caucasian thing. I think some people are just really good at retaining memory, remembering TV, movies and stuff. Because I can't quote anything from TVs and movies. I don't know if you're like that.
There's certain shows that I binge watch. I've seen Mad Men a couple times. I've seen The Wire a couple times. So those shows I could probably do. But
you love your Mad Men.
Yeah, I love Mad Men.
Yeah.
I don't even think about you at all.
Yo, that's crazy. Yeah. That's me to Jeff Downton. All right, let's shift into some fun Raptors questions, and then we can carry that over into segment 3.
Let's do it.
People want to know, based on because you're the warm-up god, based on Raptors pregame, shoot-around, are there any Raptors that are surprisingly better or worse in-game versus when you see them in warm-ups?
The guy that used to fit this category was Pascal.
Pascal really?
Would go to the warm-ups and just miss so much, and then go in the game and drop 25, and I just never understood it.
Yeah.
I think nowadays, it's probably closer in terms of just the accuracy you see off the court, but you also see in the game as well. But for a while, it was really perplexing. I think it was the year after the championship, 1920, when Pascal was the number 1 option, and we won 50 plus games, or almost 60 games really.
Yeah.
And with a number 2 seed overall in the whole league. But yeah, that year I was just I can't believe that he's missing so many shots at warmups, but he would play well. I think it was there's definitely nobody on that level where it was I used to when Kawhi was here for that 1 year, and we used to watch Kawhi's warm-up. Kawhi's warm-up routine.
Oh man.
Was he would just practice shooting post fadeaways.
Yeah, I remember
over and over.
I remember every shot, bro.
Yeah. And he would have the tallest assistant coach come out there.
Yeah.
Whether it was Jamal McGlure or this other tall guy that I forget what his name is. I'm sorry.
What about Jeremy Castleberry? What did we hire him for?
He was inbounding. He was giving the ball into the post to Kawhi. I'm not even kidding. That was what was happening.
All right.
And he would just hit turnaround jumpers over this 6'8" human being over and over and over again. And he would make 85, maybe 90%.
100%. Yeah.
We just don't have a guy like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the warm-up thing is true. It's most of the time it really lines up. You see guys who struggle to shoot from 3 in game, and you see the inconsistency before the game.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Yeah.
It's like what Drake said, man. If you ain't got it, you ain't got it.
Yeah.
That theory is brilliant. So
even a guy like Gary is probably the closest to the most automatic guy in the warm-up. And then when you watch him in the game, you're yeah, he's our best shooter. I know that he doesn't shoot the best percentage,
sure.
But objectively, if you want a guy taking an open shot with the game on the line, I'd probably pick Gary on the team.
Yeah.
Or even OG. OG's up to that level. He's really improved over the years.
Yes.
Having watched his warm-ups for 5-6 years now, he's really gotten a lot better. To the point where he's now shooting almost practice shots where he shoots with extra arc. I asked him about this one time. He said he was working on his touch.
Oh,
but he would shoot double arc shots. And they'll still go in.
This guy's shooting a double rainbow.
Basically, yeah.
That's sick, man. Spotify rap.
Go watch a warm-up.
Fan shout-outs coming up after the break. Handing out our chain of the week. More questions and Raptors next preview in the second hour.
That's right. We're going to take another break. I've been your host, Willow. You've been listening to The Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Welcome back to The Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. I'm your host, Wim Lou. Continue to be joined by producer and co-host Alex Wong. What are we doing today, man? What are we doing today?
To start the second hour, I know this week, we had referenced it earlier this week, that there was a Spotify rap that came out and giving data to everybody about their top podcasts of the year, all of this stuff. And I know you saw a lot of this on social media too.
That's right. Apologies to anyone who follows me on Instagram.
Yeah, he runs it now, though.
All you have seen is just The Raptor Show is my top podcast, and I appreciate all of you for seeing that.
No, you gotta put yourself out there. You're up, bro.
Okay.
So just wanted to take a quick minute here before we continue with our Raptors mailbag, just to shout out some people. And again, I tried to track a lot of them as they were coming in. Obviously couldn't get to everybody. Shouts to some of our listeners, Josie and Colin, Juan Manuel, Richard Schumacher wanted us to know that this is the third year in a row now that the Raptor Show was his top podcast. And he actually had a question for you.
Okay.
He's missing the slander pods. He said, hopefully we can get a few more slander pods this season. He set the over-under at 4.5. That seems a little ambitious for a 500 team, I want to say.
Yeah, so I put in that rule, I think, back when we were very successful. I put in the rule that...
Thing about the old days?
You could only slander... Wow, see, that's why the wire is so quotable. That you can only do a slander pod if you're above 500.
Okay.
Because, like...
So it's going to be a real climb.
Like? No, it's tough.
But what if we beat the Celtics to improve to 22 and 21? Like that's
fine. You're over 500.
That's eligible.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's totally fine. Yeah.
Okay. So
at that point we will be slandering Jaylen Brown's left hand.
When was the last slander pod? Did you do one last year?
No, there's not one last.
It's been that long.
They were under 500 the whole year, except for when they started the season.
Man,
1-0.
We starving, man.
We are starving.
We are starving.
Man's is Mars.
I was just gonna say that. Damn it, man. You riding.
Yeah, we actually have to teach Alex a lot of.
Yeah.
You know what? Never mind.
No,
we're not gonna.
It's all pure right now.
Yeah.
Shouts to Wayne, who we spotted in the food court the other day when we went to get Shanghai 360. He was in his Anthony Parker.
That was a sick
jersey.
That was a sick jersey.
Wayne, if you hear this, I actually would like that Anthony Parker jersey. Let's chat. Ali Khan, our friend from the Toronto Blue Jays, huge listener. I don't know if you're aware of this, Will, but huge Raptor Show listener.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we've been listening to when he's jogging through Central Park as the Blue Jays prepare to take on the New York Yankees.
He's jogging with Shohei Ohtani.
I know that's what he wants to be doing. Yeah.
Kevin, our boy from Livestock. Yep. Drew, photographer Drew.
Of course.
I don't think we shout out Drew enough. Shouts to Drew.
Shouts to Drew, man.
Drew, his family. And then some honorable mentions. No, actually not honorable mentions. These are the top stars.
Got you.
Tom Graham from Australia believes he's the top listener from Australia. He submitted 9,372 minutes of listening to the Raptor Show.
Yeah.
Johnson, the aforementioned Johnson, aka Asian Lethal Shooter, was at around 10K.
Mm-hmm.
Shouts to Cassidy on IG, sent in 10K as well. Edwin at 11K. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. Choi. It was on Twitter. Identify yourself. 15,000 minutes. Steph on Twitter is actually the leader at over 25,000 minutes, and I think she said that she's heard us more than she's heard like her own family.
Yeah.
And for context, when I took the 25,000 minutes, that's 17 full days.
Damn.
Of listening to the show. So if you sat down right now and you listen as much as Steph, it would be around Christmas by the time you're done.
That's really impressive.
Well, yeah,
looking at these minutes, it's like we were coached by Nick Nurse. Like,
no, but all jokes aside, like we wanted to carve out this time really quickly. From covering the content and stuff. I know we don't get to stop sometimes to say thanks. To really just say thanks to everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. No, thank you. And I want to say thank you, especially because as an adult, you don't get this feeling. But I think everyone can relate to when you're in school and you come home with straight A's. When you're just beaming, you're like waiting to show your parents, like, look at this. Look at this A in art.
And then they're like, why aren't you gifted though?
Yeah. Well, they didn't have to ask that question for me. Sorry. Wow. Gifted kids are so insufferable. I'm sorry.
Wait, you're gifted?
Yeah, man.
Oh, no wonder.
MCI, baby. Shouts to MCI.
No wonder you carry yourself the way you do.
Yeah, actually, it makes a lot of sense once you know that. But yeah, no, that's what it kind of feels like when everyone kind of sends in those screenshots of like how much they listen to the show.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It actually does feel like that exact feeling. So I will be sharing those to my parents over the weekend.
No, for sure.
And they're going to be like, okay, that's fine. Just wrap these dumplings, buddy. And make sure when you boil them, they don't break apart. Like, they're like, you're our son. You are not a TV personality or radio personality. You are just our son, and you will only ever be that. And I'm like, okay, you know what? That's nice.
Yeah, shouts to Day One Raptors fan Jenny, who popped by the Recess community event last week. Nice. And told me that Prehistoric brought back so many great memories for her. And that's been like such a special part, too, of doing this and writing the book. And Chris Rothwell, a.k.a. Roscoe Raptor on Twitter, your wife submitted this request. Want you to know that you're the best husband and dad ever. And this is an early Christmas gift for you, this shout out. Yeah. Good. Chris's wife was actually trying to be like, can we get him on the show? I'm like, I don't know. We could do a lot.
Do a lot, including wear a Fan 590 jersey on air.
and finally,
and Zito's Marketplace.
Finally, I want to give a shout out to Angelo at Zito's Marketplace. He's been running the grocery store with help from the Zito family on Marley Ave since 1985. Best sandwich counter in the city. I was able to meet Angelo the last couple of years through friend of the program, Mark Savell. And like he handed me a Zito's Marketplace Toque last year award on air. And it was super funny because like people started coming into the Zito store and telling Angelo, this was customers or like truckers, like drivers that he worked with, and told him that like, hey man, there's a Chinese guy wearing your toque on the show. Like, what's going on? And he's always
been... What is the Chinese factor into this? So confused.
Anyways, he's always been super supportive. I don't know if you remember, he donated, I believe, like a whole coffee machine.
Man. I was sick that I was giving that away instead of just taking that home.
At the Bobby Webster live event. I just wanted to mention Angelo because I think he's honestly the perfect example of what we're trying to say here. The power of the show like this, the community that you're able to kind of branch out and reach into based on everything that we've been able to build the last 2+ years. So like to everybody who shared their Spotify Wrapped, everybody who didn't get a shout out today, all you regular civilians begging for a shout out, like we spent a lot of time making this content, but we really want you to know that this is like not possible without all your support.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
That's
well said. That's well said.
Back to questions, my brother.
All right, what other questions do you have?
Can we do some fun Raptors questions?
Let's do our usual. Let's do one serious Raptor question and 2 fun ones.
Okay. So serious. Why aren't they playing Otto Porter more? It can't solely be for player development.
I do wonder like how much Otto has like to give physically sometimes. Like
sorry, I don't know why that sounds so funny.
Sorry,
I know you're not joking.
I'm not trying to be rude. I just mean like is he like ready to play all, like consistently and like what's the like wear and tear on the body?
Yeah.
Because he's been so in and out the lineup that it's like hard to just assume that okay, he's healthy because he's not on the whatever reports. So that means he's fully available to play. I think it's kind of curious. But I mean I do know that like the one day that we were waiting for Garrett Temple last week.
Yeah.
We were able to stay in the arena for the stay ready games.
Yes,
you remember those, right? So it's
the
like
scrimmage.
Some assistant coaches mixed in with some players, usually third stringers who don't typically get to play. So Otto's still getting that kind of time, and I think maybe even use some of that to even evaluate whether or not like guys are ready to go or stuff like that. So yeah. Also, there was one assistant coach, Noah Lewis. Shouts to you, buddy. We saw you get some buckets in that.
Bro,
he was getting buckets on NBA guys.
You are the Noah Analytics, man.
Honestly, he was sick.
Great facial hair too, man.
All right.
Do you want Otto to play more?
I do, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, as much as like Otto's available to play, like I want them to play.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fun question.
Okay.
Give me top 5 jerseys all time that you cannot show up to a home Raptor game in.
Oh, top 5 you can't show up to a Raptor
Vince Carter
game.
Nets.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
First off, those Nets jerseys were terrible.
I like those, man.
That boring gray.
You don't like those?
No, those are nasty.
If anybody has a Vince Carter Nets jersey, hit me up.
Those boring gray Nets jerseys with like the random little stars. Like, get out of here.
Okay, man. Fake DeMar DeRozan jersey owner.
What does that represent?
What are you going to wear, man?
The Izod Center?
Okay, so Vince.
Can't wear a Vince jersey. I don't think you should come to Raptor games wearing a Celtic jersey. Like, okay,
like, so any Celtic jersey.
Any Celtic jersey.
Is there any specific one you would say would be most upsetting?
Any of them. Actually.
Okay, just any.
Just any. Marcus Smart. You know what? If you come in repping 36, if you come in repping that 36.
36 Mafia. What about like a old school Larry Bird? Like you're past the era of.
Oh, that's different. That's different. That's vintage. Any vintage jersey is cool.
But any current, present Celtics.
Yeah, you show up in that Leon Poe 0.
Yeah, that's hard.
It's over for you.
By the way, this is unrelated as we continue on this, but we saw a Will Barton Raptors jersey at the Suns game.
That's right. Yeah. So as I mentioned on yesterday's show, it was like, oh my God, like there's like real star power when you see like KD come in.
Oh, sorry, I didn't listen.
Yeah. And so it was like we saw so many jerseys. Remember, we were looking before the game because you and I were both watching KD warm up.
Yeah.
And we looked over the side, and there was like literally a row of like 7 Suns fans, all in different KD jerseys.
Incredible.
Yeah.
To people who said KD has no stands, he has stands.
OKC, the Phoenix jerseys,
Texas
Warriors
from college.
Jerseys. Yeah, the college jerseys, Sonics jerseys. Like
there's different depths.
There was different depth, man. It was amazing watching them. I thought they coordinated or something. But then we were walking around and we saw a guy wearing a KD jersey, a guy wearing a different KD jersey, and in the middle it was a Will Barton.
It was
Raptor
a Will
jersey.
Barton sandwich.
He was repping that. What was Will Barton even wearing? 18? Maybe no, one. I think it was 1.
If you are that person, also ID yourself.
Yeah.
So Vince Carter Nets, any Celtics jersey. I'm shocked you haven't even mentioned LeBron. So no LeBron Cavs.
No, come on. You're not letting a man wear a LeBron jersey into the arena?
To the Raptors game?
You think Cleveland's cool?
I think
after what LeBron,
it's like wearing
do you remember when Sportsnet put out like LeBron's top 10 moments?
That's right.
Against the Raptors last season.
It was a very viral moment. It was
do you
shared
remember?
Many times.
No, do you remember this? So yeah, I'm shocked you're not putting LeBron on this list.
No, I would honestly be more like offended if he came in with like Tristan Thompson or something like.
But like I'm putting LeBron Cavs on this. What other? I mean, if you have a Paul Pierce Wizards,
are you talking about villains? Oh, Paul Pierce.
No, but
Wizards?
these are jerseys. These are jerseys you can't show up.
That's a no. That's a no for sure.
So Paul Pierce, Wizards.
Who else is like?
That
what about a Raptor jersey that you can't wear anymore? I don't think anybody owns a Goran Dragic. I mean, that'd be kind of funny if you had it.
If you had a Goran Dragic jersey and come to the arena, I'll boo you, but for fun.
Who was your like?
Hito, that's a good one. Yeah, thank you, Derek.
That's a sick jersey though. Who's your?
Well, you want the 26 on your back?
Yeah, I do. Who's your most hated Raptor? Did you have one that you were like, man?
The guy that I was probably most annoyed with was Bargnani.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you rep that that number 7, I think he was 7.
Oh, I hate that guy too.
Yeah, that was tough. That was a tough era. It was a tough era for me.
If you could have dinner with a Raptor player, who would it be? Where would you go?
What kind of question is this, man? If you had to riz one Raptor, well, who would you riz and why?
No, pick right now.
If I had to go with dinner with one Raptor.
I don't have his number.
I mean, obviously, Utah. Yeah, you're right. That's the storyline. Again, he's no longer a Raptor, and I still no longer have his number.
Yeah, tune in on the next episode of Dragon Ball GT at this point.
Hopefully, we're gonna get a Zoom interview set up for next week.
Gambu, aren't we?
Yeah, that's why I said
it's not looking optimistic. No. Lock in for Michael Scotto and Baxter Holmes, my brother.
It's not looking optimistic. Why? Did we scare him after cornering him and asking for his phone number?
It's just like I told you, he's one of the most famous people.
Cool.
In the world.
That's fine, but
no, we gotta check. We gotta humble ourselves sometimes.
All right, fine.
Pick your dinner mate. Pick your dinner spot. Now.
Their names are it's probably Dennis. Dennis seems chill. Like Dennis genuinely seems chill.
Yeah.
Like now we see each other at the arena. We say hi.
Maybe you and okay, we get it. Man. Stop bragging. You and Dennis at piano. Yeah. What you
we're not trying to riz the
What
Raptors.
You don't like these keys? You're not trying to hit these notes?
Piano was pretty great though.
All right.
That's a piano.
All right, piano. Then.
There last Friday it was a great service too.
All right, real question. Do you think a second?
Wait, hold on. Who are you taking? Because I think you described in a previous episode of the Banter Pod that you actually had the chance to have dinner with Precious once.
Yeah.
To write a story, and he famously ordered calamari rings.
Yeah, we're not sharing that here.
But
I will go with Precious again to really? Patois. Do you think, real question, do you think a second unit with Chris Boucher, speaking of Precious, do you think a second unit with Chris Boucher and Precious is playable? I feel that Darko understood that they can't play both at the same time, but I don't know if Jalen McDaniels is better. I also don't understand why Otto's not playing. So basically, what do you think about the Chris Boucher Precious partnership on the court together?
This is a good question. Thanks for sending it in, because I was thinking about it after looking at the rundown for the first time in my life, and because there was a period where it really worked. It was during the time when the Raptors were also quite successful as well, in that 48-win season 2 years ago when Scottie was a rookie and he won Rookie of the Year. That was the combo they went to off the bench, and that was a combo that actually, by the numbers and also just by watching the game, like they were actually quite good. And I was thinking about like, okay, so what's different between now and then? And I think it's really comes down to changing the system. I think Chris and Precious are fine and can be productive as a combo if you play like a heliocentric offense. Like you're basically just like, I'm going to give it to one guy and he's going to isolate, and those guys are going to crash the glass. That accentuates their strength. They're really good at crashing the glass. They're going to, play hard defense, get out in transition. They're good in transition. That was kind of the style they played. If you want to play 0.5 offense with these guys where the ball is going to touch the high post and then there's going to be a screen off the ball and then someone's going to maybe get in position for a cut, maybe someone's going to come around some curls, and you have them kind of deciding where to make the passes, where to make the right reads, when to sort of like, set the screen, when to slip the screen, when to reject the screen, all this other stuff. Like you're starting to really complicate it to the point where it's like, okay, now you're not really playing into their strengths. I think the flip side is like you're probably trying to develop, especially in the case of Precious, trying to develop the skill set into him. But you are, by developing, what you are doing is making him do something that he's not good at right now and getting practice to get better at it. So in the meantime, it's going to look pretty terrible. And there's no guarantee that he gets there. Hopefully he gets there, right? So, yeah, I mean, I think you can play them together, but you would have to play essentially the way Nick used to play them, which was like, you guys aren't allowed to touch the ball. Okay.
So many rules for two bench players.
Pascal and Fred are going to shoot the ball, and you're going to go run to get the board. In that case, they actually can be successful.
Yeah.
You probably also have to play a little bit more zone defense with them, too. I thought last year they did a good job playing those two in a zone, sometimes with Christian Coloco as well. Offensively, again, it was pretty bad because those three were not good offensively. But at least if we put them in a zone, you put a lot of rim protection on the floor. You're actually okay. This year, the Raptors aren't zoning nearly as much either. So I think in terms of system changes, those two guys are probably struggling with the system changes a lot more than we ever really talk about, because I guess all we focus on is can Pascal and Scotty coexist.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, please, man, Bobby, Masai, just get a better bench, man. Like we just need a better second unit.
All right.
It's tough.
Say less, bro. First round pick for Doug McDermott on the way.
Yo, say less. All right, back to the fun.
Yeah.
What is the best and worst free T-shirt giveaway from the Raptors over the years? So I did.
Did you have a bad free giveaway?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
So
we're gonna be ungrateful.
My the black and gold. When the Sixers and Raptors played in the first round, 2022. Yeah. That playoff tee doesn't really age that well because it just says 2022 playoffs, and they were down 3-0.
Right.
It's not like a tee that you can like wrap.
That one is a little tough.
Yeah, that one's tough. Did you like that era?
What about the white? Just says "We the North." The white.
I like those.
That's like a sleep shirt. That's not a shirt you can even wear to the supermarket. Like you're just sleeping in that one.
Did you like when I think it was 2016? They did a bunch of like graffiti inspired ones.
I actually kind of liked it.
Yeah, so those I think have aged well.
Yeah, they have.
Again, if anybody has them in size XL, please hit me up.
There was like the angry snowball at one point.
I think those aged well.
Like shoelaces, kind of in a ball.
They were getting clowned at the time.
They were,
but I think they're better
angry
now.
Beaver, which I still have.
Yeah,
they gave that away Game 5 of the first round between the Raptors and the Pacers.
Yeah,
and I went as a fan.
Yeah. When have you not gone as a fan?
Okay, fine. You've
either gone as a fan or you've gone for the fan.
That's actually,
this is all you've done in your life.
Hard. But yeah, I went to that game and they gave that shirt away, and that was the game where the Raptors. It was 2-2 in the series, and they had to win that game for control.
Oh,
and
this
that
is
was
the Norman Powell.
Norm got the steal, 12-0 run, dunked the ball, and it was like so exciting in that building. The Raptors still had to hung on to actually win the game because Solomon Hill shot the 3 at the end.
Yeah, the no analytics on that was too slow.
Oh man, that was tough.
Too slow.
That was tough.
Yeah,
man. I'm just imagining the no analytics board like bop it. You know, it's like twist it.
I'm just picturing your big head cheering. You must have been cheering like crazy.
Oh, my voice was gone.
Yeah.
You know how intense I'm at the game, and I was just wearing that stupid shirt. I got on the subway, like I hopped on a Union, and I was getting home, and I looked down at my stupid shirt, and I'm like, you know what? This means something to me now for the rest of my life. This little angry beaver.
I'm telling you, man.
So I only wear that shirt when the Raptors absolutely need to win.
That's a personal attachment shirt for you, and I love that. Other shout outs of good shirts.
By the way, I wore that shirt below my sweater for Game 7 between Raptors and the Sixers.
Oh, did you?
2019.
Okay.
Yeah. But, as a media member, I can't just be wearing Raptors.
This was your superstitious thing.
Yeah.
For the Kawhi shot.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think everyone did something superstitious for that game, no?
I thought it was the last game of the season. So
really?
I flicked up courtside just in case. Other shout outs, the early Drake Night tees are really good. Like early era when it was Drake Night.
I agree, yeah. You like the ones where they have all the MLSC teams on there?
Yeah, so that I believe was during the finals.
That was
that was Game 1 finals giveaway. I think my dad has it now. I'm gonna need that back. And then I don't know if you remember when the Celtics and Raptors played a Christmas game after the championship.
Oh, I do remember that.
OVO Snow Globe tee.
That one's really good.
That one's hard.
That one's really good.
I love that one.
It doesn't even matter that Jaylen Brown dropped like 30 on us and we lost the game.
Man, we hyped that Christmas game up so much and it was such a dud.
Yeah, what was better was when we got our revenge.
Oh, we're not doing this Pat McCaw thing again.
Pat McCaw, baby. 18-7-8.
Okay. So far we
Raptor
haven't.
games are my Seinfeld lines. I remember them.
You really do. So far we haven't seen the lineup of Scotty, OG, Pascal, Jakob, and Gary.
Yeah.
So basically the starting lineup, but instead of Dennis, it's Gary. Why do you think this is? And do you think it could potentially be better than starting Dennis Schroeder?
That was coming into the year. That was the lineup that I kind of anticipated, like coming into the offseason. I think as soon as we got to training camp and we heard the reports that like Dennis is taking all these reps as a starter, like it's not like Gary's getting any reps with the starters. It was like, okay, I was pretty like convinced that okay, Dennis is going to start. But I did see some logic in that, right? You did have your best movement shooter in Gary, who plays really well with the starters. You have OG who's a shooter. You have, Scotty this year, I would say he's like he's been a plus shooter. Like he's shooting at a decent volume and he's hitting at a pretty good percentage. And then you have Pascal and Jakob in the middle. Like it actually probably makes the most sense balance wise. You don't have a ball handler outside of Scotty, and so what you will probably do is, even though Scotty would have the ball, he'd be mostly looking to set up and run the actions, and so maybe you're not actually getting the most scoring from him, even though he has the ball so much in that kind of scenario. But I still thought that, like, okay, you're gonna run point Scotty with the other guys on the court who could really operate in that system. I still think it's worth a shot at certain points, but it seems like very much this year, Darko has largely put Dennis with Jakob. Two of them have probably the highest minutes overlap out of anybody.
Yeah.
Any two-man combination on the court. And I do wonder, okay, if you're not running pick and rolls for Jakob, then how much can you get out of Jakob, right?
Yeah.
So I do understand why he's starting Dennis. And also Dennis is performing really well, much better than Gary is performing too. So it's hard now to make the case that okay, we should flip it.
Yeah,
but I do think that just looking at the skill set wise, it does seem like it should work.
Yeah, it's just, we've had this conversation too, last year. It's just the lack of talent on this roster. It's every time someone's struggling, the first option is can we move them into the starting lineup to get them going? It just doesn't make sense to me. Dennis has been playing really well as a starting point guard,
Do you think long-term Gary's future in the league is as a starter or as a bench guy?
I mean, that's tough. I almost feel like he's almost like a tweener in that way of
what?
No, he's a tweener in that he's
Never
a tweener.
heard about a tweener from
I'm a get Ekam on the line, man. This is some true hooper talk right now.
Got you.
No, I think Gary has historically done well with the starting lineup here, but he's also not produced consistently to the point where he deserves the starting spot though. You know what I mean? That's what I mean by a tweener thing. But it's but then you move him to the bench, and then ideally it seems okay. He can be the guy for a second unit, but he's never really been that guy of a takeover score in the second unit. So it's you're kind of stuck. But then at the same time, it's I don't think he deserves to be moved into the starting lineup just to get him going. So for me, that's why he's kind of stuck in the middle for me.
Yeah.
And that's why I have huge questions about his long-term future here.
Yeah, I guess you would hope that development-wise, he's able to play independent of that context.
Sure. But we've had him here for 3.5 years now. And I think I posed a question earlier to you guys. It's have we seen tangible improvements from Gary?
No, that's fair.
Right? So, anyways, didn't mean to slander your boy like that.
It's all good there. Half the team's my boy now, as you know.
Dipping into the Shohei Ohtani section here.
Let's do it.
People want to know, what would be Blake Murphy's version of ramen with Utah? Because they suggested sushi with Shohei.
Okay, let's be respectful with the Shohei. Me having sushi with Utah was relatively possible. This is different. This is saying, yeah, I'm just gonna go smoke a cigar with MJ. Come on, man.
So what would be Blake's version of ramen with Utah? Duff swings with Joffrey Laverne.
Oh, brother, come on, man.
I got Blake a Joffrey Laverne jersey once upon a time.
That's pretty good, man. The double sevens?
Yeah.
Yeah. The pocket sevens?
Yeah. You have an answer for me?
It'll probably be not with the player, but with the front office guy.
Okay.
I feel one thing I've told Blake this many times.
Yeah.
I was the ability that he's had to build that connection with these guys.
Curry with Corey? Yeah.
Yeah, basically. Okay. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Oh, yeah, that's pretty good.
Okay.
Shouts to Eric Corey. Congrats. Got the first win today.
Congrats,
905 update.
Is 905 doing the chain too? You think they're a little hand-me-down situation?
Oh, brother, they might do the chain that's in your bag right now, man. That might be the chain that they do. But
by the way, paging Frank Baraska to come to the studio when we go to break, please.
That's right. But yeah, I mean, it'll probably be a front office guy.
Okay.
That's probably my guess.
Okay.
But it could be a player too. OG, he's good. He's chill with OG.
Okay.
What do you think OG eats?
Yeah. Roti with OG. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Why does it have to rhyme? Anyways. Strawberries with Castleberry. Oh.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, Action Bronson. Using all these food alliterative terms.
Also with the Shohei side, because we told the story of how we embarrassed ourselves tracking down Utah this week.
Yeah.
People want to know, what would you do if you saw Shohei Ohtani courtside at a Raptors game? I actually don't think we would be that
honestly,
desperate to connect.
That's a tall Asian right there. That's cool. Keep it moving.
That's a fellow talking.
Yeah, I'm like, all right.
He's like, he bats and pitches, I pot and write, man.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Well, these days I write really infrequently, but it's only because I'm lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I probably snap a pick and that's it. Like,
I don't think Shohei's.
moving,
I don't think Shohei's up there for you in terms of like a starstruck situation.
No, I don't think I really would be starstruck like that. The only guy I was really that starstruck by at Scotiabank Arena was seeing Thierry Henry.
What about Ronaldinho? He was in the building
Ronaldinho too. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But Henry was there for the finals. Is that right?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. Were you in close?
I was like within like 10 feet of Thierry Henry.
And you weren't like
shook.
you weren't like, yo, maybe I should approach him.
No,
none of that.
I respect people. I'm a respectful person.
Did I tell you? I think I've told this story, but whatever. I fanned out overseeing Chris Martin of Coldplay one time.
Oh, where?
Courtside. He was
Raptors?
Brooklyn Nets.
Oh,
so this is when I was in New York. He was like courtside.
Sorry.
Man, that's a Barclays Center.
Okay, Barclays. Sorry.
What you think I am? 67 years old.
This guy was like, that's Brooke Lopez warming up with Marshawn Brooks over there.
I knew Brooke Lopez when he played like Shaq. So I saw him courtside pregame. I rolled up to him and I was like, hey, Chris, big fan.
You know what?
I said, big fan. Hey, mind if we get a selfie? He's like, I don't know. My kids are here. I'm like, don't worry. I'll crop them out. And then he still said
glizzy
no.
gone.
And then when I walked away, I was like, when you try your best and you don't succeed, so it was tough.
That's tough.
So no,
you never got the photo?
No. He totally rejected me. Ric Flair, I geeked out.
Where are you going to get the selfie on your Motorola Razr? Like, this guy's going to take a selfie on the BlackBerry Bold.
On my Black Album exclusive Motorola Razr.
Yeah, that was not going to work.
I mean, Fat Joe, I geeked out over last week. And again, another person I wasn't able to run into.
Another brick.
Ric Flair, I saw him during, I think, 2016 finals. That was kind of cool.
He's mad old.
I mean, he's mad old. What do you want me to say to that?
Okay.
People age, man.
Just curious. Sorry.
People age.
No, that's fun. Nothing wrong with aging at all. Aging is beautiful.
Oh, my God. You have to bring one Raptor to karaoke.
I don't care. He's old.
You have to bring one Raptor player to karaoke. Who you bringing and what song do you want to sing with them?
Okay.
We're deep in the bag right now.
We take karaoke really seriously.
Scotty Barnes.
Scotty would be great because he has a lot of energy.
Yeah.
But he's also so young, he's not going to know any of the songs that we sing.
Yeah.
There's a big generational gap. That's the thing.
But me and you sing different
Chris
songs.
would be actually pretty
Chris
hard.
would be
Chris
fun.
would be pretty great,
But
actually.
I want Mike Roach there. I want
that's fine.
Ibrahim there.
Yeah.
Like, I want the whole crew.
So you want to go karaoke with Chris then? You don't want him to come karaoke with us?
I want Iguodala.
I want Iguodala.
Yo,
So funny.
Derek, man. You might have last minute earned the chain. No, Frank Braska.
Yeah.
Get down there.
Oh, man.
Why are these pick one Raptors so hard for you, bro?
No, 'cause
all you do is think about that whole roster.
I do mean it, you know?
You think about this whole roster.
You know who I feel low-key could be pretty great? Jakob.
You think so, man?
Yeah.
He'd be like, I don't want to sing, man. You guys sing.
No, he's going to down like 16 soju and we're going to sing like 99 Luft balloons or whatever.
All right. So you're going with Jakob.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
No, I think Jakob could really get into it.
Yeah.
You know, I was at the Rap City Social like 2 weeks ago now.
Oh, yeah. Any news from that? We never tapped in for a report from you.
I was not there as a journalist. I was just there to enjoy myself.
Once again, you were there as a fan?
I'm always there as a fan. Like, I know it officially says media, but I'm a fan. Don't get it twisted. And Jakob was just behind the bar, like pouring people drinks, making people like
he's a facilitator
in sodas and stuff. Yeah,
he's a facilitator.
He really was handing out assists he did it for like 30 minutes, and then Malachi joined.
Jakob's a good dude, man.
Malachi also low-key could use a karaoke session. If the whole year is about putting the arm around Malachi, our version of that would be taking a karaoke.
All right, one more before we go to break. The Raptors bench unit keeps changing every game and is never consistent.
That's the last one.
Which 4 players off the Raptors bench do you think best fits Scotty?
I just don't think you need to play 4 bench guys with Scotty. Like that's all. But
this has been like the discussion of the week, eh? Like
I think
Scotty and bench.
I think if you had to pick, I would pick Gary. I'd take Chris. Chris is always paired well with Scotty. You got to give him a target in transition, and I feel like the bench guys don't run as much as the starters. Like when the starters get a turnover, like Pascal's on that break, OG's on that break, and they're just sprinting.
Okay.
When the bench gets a turnover, I don't get the same vibe. Like I don't see it as much. But Chris definitely is a guy who can really make good use out of Scotty's passing in transition. Put Otto out there as well.
Okay.
And then your fourth, again, my question is, do you have to have a fourth? Why do you have a fourth?
Yeah. All right. Let's rip off some. Let's rip off some fun ones actually before we take the break.
All right, let's do it.
Frank Paraska, hold on to your seats. If you could pick your own media team for next year's sport versus media game, who would be your team? So if you could build a starting five.
Yeah.
So you. Me.
Yeah, the two of us will be in that team.
Honestly, I'll run it back with Jerome and Liban, man.
Jerome and Liban, and I think we just need another like
Savannah.
Savannah's tough.
And then we're set.
Savannah's tough. Yeah,
I think we're set.
I think we're good. Yeah.
Okay.
Although I think I heard back in the day Grange was a true hooper.
I've heard.
Yeah.
Heard Brad Faye is a true hooper.
I heard Brad Faye is a true hooper.
Yeah, Faye got game.
I heard JD got some game as well.
Oh, word.
Yeah, he honed his game up on.
What?
No, he's from UConn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's Yvonne of the UConn, but I heard he got some game up there too.
So you're saying we could build a pretty good probably
in-house
Sportsnet squad.
And this is obviously not including people who actually hoop, like Paul Jones and Sherm and guys like that.
Aside from Blake, obviously, even though he's 0-1 in these situations, like who at Sportsnet would you want to coach?
Coach us?
Yeah. Do you see any potential coaches out there in the 6 people that you've met here in the last 2.5 years?
Probably JR.
Daniele actually coaches, by the way. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Daniele Franceschi.
Okay. Yeah, he could be there. Yeah, he could coach too. But I would go with JR just because I think for these kind of games,
you're going to go with JR?
I just want someone who's just like chill, like just
This is how Bucks fans are talking about Adrian Griffin right now. You're going with JR?
I'm going with JR.
I
want Manatad.
Yo, that's wild. I want Desai.
That's what happens when the boss leaves for the week and then Blake also dips.
I want Desai Ujiri. When are you, this is for me, when are you going to do a live show in Scarborough? Would love to have Alex here to sign books. Actually, like I mentioned, I visited my alumni, UT Scarborough, this week. So we are working on a lot of things, including a book event there.
Let's do an event at Pacific Mall. This is what
we've been meaning to do it.
Has been telling me to do.
And I'm gonna be at Vintage We Trust tomorrow, 1580 Queen Street West, 3 to 6 p.m. Come through. What activity would you do if you had unlimited funds? Gamble.
Unlimited funds?
Yeah.
Gambling would actually be totally up there. Are you kidding me?
I would put $1 million on roulette and feel the adrenaline rush on red. Wow. Yeah. And that's a double zero.
That's hard.
Yeah. What would you do?
Unlimited funds.
Buy a Christmas tree.
End world hunger.
Okay. Good dude over here. Okay.
Unlimited funds.
Good dude.
For myself, probably just
Christmas
buy my family
tree.
a house and stuff like that.
Yeah, Christmas tree. Used Nintendo Switch games.
I probably still got them used.
These are literally your Friday activities. What would you be doing? Last one. What would you be doing if you weren't in this job? I'd be a pit boss at a casino.
Would you? Terrible pit boss.
Why? Because I'd start gambling.
Yeah. The number one rule: don't get high on your own supply.
I'm the lethal weapon. I do not finish second.
What would you be doing, man?
What would I be doing?
Yeah, sitting in the 100s in your Angry Beaver shirt as a Raptors season ticket holder.
I probably would be. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Coming up, I really wanted to be a teacher. I thought I really wanted to be a high school teacher.
You were gonna rap tune and hate it or love it. Coming up, I was confused.
A high school teacher.
You would be a high school teacher.
You don't think I could talk to kids?
No, you got the skills, man. I respect you a lot. All right, man. I'm done for this segment.
Teach history, for the record.
All right, let's go to break.
All right, we're gonna go to this last break. Been your host, Will Lou. You've been listening to the Raptors Show. Yes, we do talk about the Raptors on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Welcome back to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. I'm your host, Will Lou. I continue to be joined by producer and co-host Alex Wong. And because it's the end of the week, we want to continue this time-honored tradition of giving thanks to the people behind the scenes. Because usually I'm just like riffing through them as quickly as possible to end the show. But then we got to actually give them their time and their respect. So, Alex, who is going to get the coveted Raptors Show chain of the week?
Yeah, so first off, a couple of quick honorable mentions. As we mentioned, J.R. Manatad. Once again,
close.
Came close.
Really close.
Came close.
You can make the case for sure.
I want to give a shout out to Josiah as well.
Yeah.
He's the one who helped create all these graphics on Monday when we were talking about my MVP performance. He was really locked in.
Got you.
And David Siss, who we realized today, Will doesn't know who David Siss looks like.
Why did you expose me?
Because we walked in and he was sitting here with Matt Marchese in the show before, and Will was like, "Who is that?"
I think I said
I wasn't really familiar with your game.
I was like, wow, that's Armin right there.
Oh no! But the
so
chain.
That's 2 employees I don't recognize.
But the chain this week, we got to pan the camera to our guy Frank Baraska, who has filled in occasionally the last couple of years when Jennifer Rolnick has been away, and Frank has filled in for us the last week and this week as well. Frank is great energy, and is for people that are like watching on TV. Just look at this man. This man is a rock star, bro.
He's a literal rock star.
Like me.
I just want to say that if you came up to me and asked for an autograph.
Yeah, no, Frank,
I wouldn't freeze you up.
I want you to know that you're a legend, man. Like,
I also want you to know you got to speak closer to the microphone.
Yeah,
now that we're your
come
producers.
on, Frank. Yeah,
all right.
No, but like,
you got to guide me.
I just want you to know, like Will and I and JR, like we spend every day trying to get to a certain level of like swag, and then we see you, and it's like the swag has to be natural, and you've got that natural swag, my brother. So congrats to you on the chain. I hope this makes like the top 100 of your like life accomplishments.
It won't,
top 14. No, we're up there. That's pretty cool. I appreciate that. Thanks, you guys.
So walk us through what do you typically do? Like if you weren't right now getting this chain, what will you be doing?
I'd be cutting the show. So I'd be putting to air what David, the person that you didn't know what he looked like until today.
Didn't realize he had yellow glasses, by the way.
Were they yellow?
They came across yellow on the screen.
They were tinted.
Maybe, you're right.
Yeah. He looked like a poker player.
He's pretty cool. He's actually he's filling in for me so that I could be on camera.
Got you.
Yeah.
So I'd be cutting the show and making sure the cameras.
David, I apologize.
Look at Frank's swag, man. Frank, have you always had this hairstyle?
When I was younger, I had it pretty long, and then I cut it short, and then when COVID hit, I just let it grow.
Yeah.
And then I kept it. I actually just got it cleaned up a little bit last night, just for today.
Really?
No, it's a total coincidence. But I had an appointment yesterday.
All right. Well, it looks great.
Yeah.
How many more times can we compliment his appearance? This is great.
I don't know.
Not enough.
Yeah, not enough. I agree.
Second question, Frank. Do you like basketball?
I do.
Oh, okay.
That's it?
I thought you were going to follow up. Frank's a tough interview, man.
Are you
Do you want me to ask my own questions? Or
No,
whatever you want, man.
No. What's your history in sports? Give us your sports CV.
Yeah, that's a better question.
I've never been a huge sports fan. I usually like digging in on playoff.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's sensible, honestly.
Bandwagon? Yeah.
I'm actually a football fan, but like actual football, not American football.
Oh, Will's football.
Hey.
Okay.
So what's your squad?
And
what's your club?
I don't know if I really have a club.
Oh, you just like the game.
I like the game.
Oh, wow. I respect it even more.
Check the swag.
The authenticity of like the fans. And
Yeah, right.
how they make it sort of an event, regardless of where they are in the season. It's not playoffs. It's just sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah.
I think I would know this.
No, it's not intuitive.
I lose my mind. I'm on camera.
Don't try this at home, guys.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Did you play then?
When I was a kid,
Yeah.
I played some soccer.
Gotcha.
My favorite actual basketball memory, though.
Mm.
So in the final, when they won the championship, the Raps,
Mhm.
I was actually on stage playing a gig.
Oh,
And we had arranged it so that the band could see a monitor above the bar.
Oh,
of
that's
the final
amazing.
game
yeah.
against Warriors. And I remember playing, and when they won, the entire room stopped listening to us.
Yeah.
And we kind of just stopped playing.
They just turned around.
Yeah,
They
no,
just
they didn't
looked the other
care.
way.
They didn't care about us.
Wow.
And I just remember being just blown away by that happening,
Yes.
but also being on stage,
Yeah.
doing what I'm doing, which is playing, and still being able to watch the game.
That's awesome.
Well, getting paid to play music. It was pretty fun. Getting home that night wasn't easy.
Yeah, I can imagine. You probably had to walk home.
What was the venue? Do you remember?
But, Cherry Cola's.
Okay.
It's closed now. It actually ended up closing over COVID. But
Damn.
Bathurst and College area.
Oh,
Toronto.
yeah, you would have been stuck then.
Yeah, it was a mess.
Damn.
But it was so worth it. I remember coming out of the club and somebody being hanging off of like a lamppost, putting up a banner or something. It was crazy.
It was sheer pandemonium.
It was actually, yeah, it actually was.
That's the only thing I actually regret about the championship is not being able to celebrate it in Toronto because I was like at the game. This is not a humble brag, whatever. I was covering the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you leave the arena, it's just a silence.
Right.
Nobody cared.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
people
yeah.
in San Francisco or Oakland, I guess, was actually really sad.
Yeah,
So it's a totally different vibe. Me just coming out with the hugest grin.
Yeah, it was a
And
closing.
you were
of-
all alone.
It was
I
the
was
closing of that arena too. Like that was the final game.
Actually. And I had to say, Oracle Arena was a smelly arena. That place smelled bad. No wonder they closed it down, man. They were like, I guess this is the last game ever going to be here. So
Poo-poo platter. What? How'd you pull that, man?
Right.
Last one for you, Frank. You've had a chance to, work with us here occasionally, like we mentioned.
You're my favorites.
And we never asked this. Like, what are your impressions of us? What's your scouting report on Will and on me?
I'm a bad coworker. I don't recognize my coworkers.
That aside, I just love how chill you guys are, and how you just speak authentically about what you're talking about. You're not posing. You're not trying to be.
Oh, I'm posing.
We know. Are you?
Yeah, trust me.
I don't know about that. Well, actually, whenever I see that happen, I just cut away from you.
I've noticed that too.
Just cut to Will.
So you're saying authenticity?
Yeah, I just like how much you guys are like real fans.
Yeah.
Like authentic fans, and you just speak from the heart when you talk about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That makes it entertaining. Even when you're talking about something that's kind of boring, you still make it interesting.
Like what?
Like,
what's
I
the
don't
most
know.
boring part about listening to us? That's a better question.
I mean, it depends how the Raps are doing, I suppose.
Yeah.
Because sometimes there's
Like,
not
these
a whole
guys are
lot
talking
to
about
talk
Otto
about.
Porter and bench lineups. This is not it.
Right?
Yeah.
But you guys still make it interesting. So
All right.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I love that, man.
Well deserved on the chain. Alex, great selection.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Thanks.
vote, but we all
This is
agreed.
pretty
It's
cool.
unanimous.
No, we.
So I don't get to keep this, right? I got to give it back?
Yeah,
You
so
know what?
so
We'll let you wear it all the way
go
upstairs. We'll
go
collect it from you
because we got to
upstairs.
come take a photo with you after.
Okay.
Little
Yeah.
photo op.
Yeah.
So appreciate you, Frank.
All right, thank
and
you.
Appreciate you
please
guys.
please get back to work. Yeah.
All right,
Alright.
cool.
Appreciate
You can
it,
exit behind me.
I will
Yeah.
do that.
Exit stage right.
Look, Dave cut away from me and everything.
Shouts to Frank Braska for real.
Oh man, unbelievable.
Always great energy.
Congratulations, buddy.
Will.
Yeah.
Back to it. It's always good to fish for compliments too from your coworkers.
It's better to fish for a slander, though. I think.
You think so?
Yeah, because compliments, everyone's just gonna be super nice about it. They gotta everyone knows how to be nice because everyone's had to be nice to someone they don't actually like.
Look at the screen.
Oh goodness!
It's just you and an invisible mic.
Please sit on the other chair or
Please,
something.
David Sis, what are you doing? Yeah, I'm back now.
It's easy to be nice to someone because everyone's had the experience of being fake nice. But it's hard to
Sure.
be fake rude. You have to be honest about your rudeness.
Oh, okay.
That's why I like actually asking
It's a little too deep
a
there
little
for me, man.
rudeness out of people. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, got a couple minutes here before we preview
Got you.
the Knicks
Got you.
Raptors game. Did you see the Detroit Pistons ended up going winless in November, my brother?
I did. Yes. The no-win November.
Somebody called it something else, but
Yeah. I mean, that's basically on the same idea. No. It's really sad. It really, really is sad. Like, I genuinely feel bad. That franchise was like one of, not the beacon. I would never say like the people were saying like we got to be like the Pistons, but I know for a lot of Raptor fans for a long time because the Pistons are just down the road. Like, if you really wanted to go see a playoff game, you probably just drive 3 hours south to Detroit. Like, that was a really proud organization, and they had a lot of great years. Obviously, they won the chip in 2004. They won 2 chips back in the day with Isaiah. Like they're a proud organization. When you talk about the Pistons, you think about like, bad boy Pistons and, even the last couple of years with like the 5 guys where it was like nobody was a superstar, but they played as a collective sum of their parts. I loved a lot of the characters on that team, the 2 Wallaces. Like, it was great to see. And I think just since that point, like, they've obviously slowly lost all those pieces because whatever, time goes by and that's like 20 years ago now. But to get to this point, it's just, I feel bad because I know a lot of the fans there, like, obviously they've changed arenas too, they moved around, all that kind of stuff. But I think what's undeniable is just like the product on the court is just no longer like interesting, even long term. It doesn't feel as interesting, and I feel like for most rebuilding teams, at least you can look forward to a long term vision because you're like, okay, this guy's gonna pan out, this guy's gonna pan out, they're gonna play together, and then once they get a couple of winning pieces, like what Houston did this year was like, you know what, we have some prospects now. We bring in, Fred, we bring in Dylan Brooks, we bring in Jeff Green even, and these guys were really able to click with a new coach, and then all of a sudden you win again. And then you feel really good about these young guys being able to play in a winning environment. They're so far from being in a winning environment. When we saw them come to Toronto, like, Toronto was not even in a good space. Like, Toronto's offense, we were talking about it, 30th in the league, everything was not really great with them. And then the Raptors go on and hang like 142 on them. I think maybe 144. I think that was like almost close to the Raptors franchise record for how many points scored in the game. I just feel bad because, again, like, those fans, like, they really, like, they did so much good things to get fans into that building. And I get it. You got to go through this as part of rebuilding. But, like, it's the absolute nadir of rebuilding for them, you know? And they're a joke. They're real. They're an actual joke. Like, it's tough watching them, man. I feel bad. Like, they benched who did they bench yesterday? They benched the Sar Thompson. It's like, why? He's been one of the most promising, happiest things about the year, and they benched him and only played him 13 minutes last night. Why?
Yeah, and I think the most disappointing thing is, like, they do have a collection of, you know, high-end draft picks, and they also spent the summer, like, recruiting Monty Williams to be the head coach.
They paid him to be the most expensive head coach in the league along with Popovich. They gave him the mid-level.
And, like, I don't know, we talk about this in Toronto all the time, too, about just, you know, sometimes it's just a lack of talent, right? You can look at the coach, you can look at every factor. But I mean, we gotta put the spotlight on Monty too, right? Like if you're coming in to build, you know, a program, a culture, and stuff, he has failed at this so far.
Yeah, it's really difficult, and I know that this team was never really going to be anything more than like, you know, going for another top lottery pick. But I think there's a way to do that without having to lose the whole month. And I get that they had injuries, all that kind of stuff, but it's tough, man. It's difficult. And you know that those guys are kind of miserable too. I remember after the game when they lost to the Raptors, Kate Cunningham was like, you know, we gotta show more fight. We gotta be the hungriest team out there. Like we don't even win games. How are we not hungry? It's like, that's actually why you don't win games. Because you guys aren't hungry.
Really, how hungry are you right now?
Yeah. No, they started livers in the front court like we're going for barbecue.
They got beef stew. They got livers. They got everything Lee Bang can't eat, man.
Oh, man.
Anyways, time now for Between the Lines, brought to you by Bet Rivers. Take a chance. The Toronto Raptors are hosting the New York Knicks tonight. They are 2.5-point favorites. The over-under is 216.5. The injury report is clean for the Raptors.
Yes.
Everyone is available.
Well, I mean, Christian Cole
remains out. Remains out, but the whole rotation is intact. Julius Randle played 38 minutes yesterday against the Pistons and is questionable tonight with knee inflammation. When he's bending his knees too much while shooting 35 shots a game.
Oh, respect Julius Randle. Come on.
So, yeah, the Raptors are a slight favorite at home, looking to build off their win over Phoenix. The Knicks are on a second half of a back-to-back. What are you looking for tonight, and who do you like?
I think it's going to be a nice defensive matchup.
So a rock fight, you're saying nicely?
A nice defensive matchup.
It's going to be a rock fight?
It's going to be a nice defensive matchup.
Okay.
No, I think these two teams played each other really close last year. Had some pretty memorable games. One went to overtime. You remember the Raptors won in overtime on that one.
Yeah.
You had the one where Scotty was like going up to Quentin Grimes and saying, "You is not him."
Yep.
That sparked a debate, which I think is not really a debate. Like, why are we debating a future star player and a future role player? Like, it's not close. It's not even as fun as the Evan Mobley one. I'm not gonna lie. And then, you know, you had Pascal going for like 50+ in the Garden. That was last year.
Oh wow.
I know it seems like an eternity ago, but that was last year. So, those two teams definitely match up well with each other. I think the key there is how much Mitchell Robinson's gonna be able to control the paint. Because you've seen the Raptors, if they can't score around the basket, and Mitchell Robinson has been really good defensively. The Knicks have been good defensively too. I think they're 4th in the league. You have a hard time. But having said that, though, I think the Raptors have matched up well with the Knicks in the past, and I still believe that. So, as always, I'm going to pick the Raptors -2.5. So, that was Between the Lines, brought to you by Bet Rivers. Take a chance. And that does it for us today. I've been your host, Willow. You've been listening to The Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Make sure you find The Raptors Show wherever you listen to podcasts and subscribe. And please rate and review the show. Thanks once again to everybody who sent in questions. Honestly, that was great. Thanks to producer and co-host Alex Wong. Thanks to our board producer, Derek Randeo, Frank Baraska with the chain, David Sis. I will introduce myself in person and get to know you a little better. And J.R. Manitev for helping behind the scenes. We'll be back next week.